The Jesus Trilogy, Book 1, The Four Messiahs, Chapter 47. And whom have we here? The priest asked. My son Jesus, Joseph answered. How old? I am 12, Jesus answered. You're a fine-looking young man. It will take about an hour, sir, the priest said. Well, I'll come back in about an hour, Joseph said. You don't need to, Dad. When I'm done, I'll just go over to Joanna's house. You know the way? Yes, Dad. Mom and Joanna are out shopping, and George should be home this evening, so I'll see you in an hour or two. I'm going over to that new carpentry shop. See you at Joanna's. Bye, Dad. Jesus and the old scribe headed through the front door of the temple. It was massive, with high vaulted ceilings and carved archways. Beautiful scenes from the olden days were depicted in the stained glass. Jesus had never seen anything like it. There were paintings by the Hebrew masters on the walls. The main pulpit was made of a beautiful teak wood. There were carvings of the creation, Adam and Eve, Moses at the parting of the Red Sea, and King David slaying the giant Goliath. David was Jesus' favorite character in the scrolls. The 23rd Psalm was Jesus' favorite text. He recited it often, especially recently as he was so uncertain of his future. He kept telling himself everything would work out, but he still had a hard time believing it to be true. The relief of David and Goliath was inlaid with gold. Jesus ran his hands over it, marveling at its beauty. The old priest allowed him to linger, then they headed toward the front pew where they would sit and the questions would begin. Jesus passed, he would become a full-fledged member of the Hebrew church. Jesus was a little nervous as he sat down and stared at the golden altar inlaid with precious stones and gold. In the very center was a huge diamond, bigger than any he had ever seen. Old Zach told him it was 889 carats, the largest in the world. It was called the Star of David. Again, David, Jesus' favorite. The old scribe saw Jesus' interest and said, I'll take you up there when we're done for a closer look. What's your name, son? Mine is Nicodemus. He shook Jesus' hand. Shall we get started? Yes, sir. The questions won't be hard. We just want to get a feel for your thinking and ideals. Jesus said nothing. He was still staring at the Star of David. How many days did it take God to create the world? 6. What did he do then? I rested. You rested? He rested. Jesus had no idea why he had said that. He straightened up and looked the priest in the eye. He had better concentrate. Who preached that there was going to be a great flood to cover the whole earth? Let's see. Noah lived 600 years. Then he built the ark and preached as he built. Then the floods came. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Nicodemus was taken aback. This kid really knew the scrolls. Just answer the question, son. I don't want any dissertation. Sorry, Jesus said, still distracted by the diamond. Who led our fathers out of the land of Egypt? Moses was born in Egypt, raised there, and when he was 80, with the help of God and despite Pharaoh's persistence, led them through the Red Sea. Very good, but again, please shorten your answers or we'll never finish. Sorry, I'll try. Who killed Goliath? King David. Who? Well, he wasn't king yet. Right. Who else wanted David dead? Saul. Who was Saul's son? Jesus didn't hear. Who was Jonathan's son? He had a little lame son named Mephibosheth. Very good. No one ever gets that one. I try to study hard, sir. So you have. Why did Saul want David dead? Because David loved Saul, Jesus said. Now, maybe, but what was the real reason? David loved Saul, but Saul was so full of sin and greed he couldn't love David back. He was jealous of David's peace of mind. Peace of mind? Nicodemus asked. Yes, David was in tune with God, and he was a happy person, one with a peace of mind. Saul was not in tune with God, despite all God had done for him and made him king and all. Saul's mind was filled with sin and greed, so much so that he knew he would never have peace of mind. He would never be happy. That's why he wanted David dead. He hated happy people because he knew he couldn't be one. He even went to that old witch of Endor, but nothing worked. David had the power. What power? The power of Almighty God. If you have that power, you are always happy. You always have peace of mind. That's why I'm... Jesus stopped. He realized he'd said too much already. Nicodemus was stunned. This was a 12-year-old boy. The real answer is that Saul felt David was a threat to his Judean throne, Nicodemus stammered. I must respectfully disagree, sir, Jesus said boldly. It is God who gives earthly power, and it is God who takes it away. David knew this, but Saul didn't. Saul was jealous of David's relationship with God the Father, something Saul would never, ever have. Saul couldn't bring himself to change, to ignore all his own earthly power, all his gold, all his wives, all his luxury, all his things. He knew David put God first, but Saul could not bring himself to do that. In the end, it was his undoing. He who loves anything above God, above the one who created him, will surely fail. Nicodemus was awestruck. How could a boy of 12 have such insight, such knowledge? He must truly be gifted.